and net aspirants, welcome back to High Point again. In the last video, we have seen part 1 of structuralist criticism. Today in this video, we will see the second and the last part of structuralist criticism. Before that, before going into the video, let me remind you to subscribe to my channel as well as press the bell icon while you subscribe so that you get a notification when we upload a content in here. And also follow me on Instagram for more variety of materials needed for NTE, UGC, NET, JRF, English language and literature. At the same time, visit my website www.highpoint.in and see how we have systematically arranged the entire entire study materials that you need to cover for NTA, UGC, NET, JRF, English language and literature paper 2. And if you wanted to join us as a student, then you can do that from the website itself. After having the free trial, you can see everything whatever we have provided there. And if you want to know anything more related to the materials that we are providing there, free bonuses of personalized study guideline and free weekly test that we are providing for our students, you can use this number to contact me if you want to know anything related to the website or the courses or the materials or NTA, which is the NET, JRF, English language and literature in general. Okay, to visit my website, so you will get to know, you will have an idea what you need to cover step by step or one by one in order to cover the entire syllabus and revise them. Okay, yeah, let's move on to the major video session. So we have provided the introduction and I have explained enough about structuralism. Now we will see the key terms. The first one is structuralist narratology.
Attempt to define the nature of narrative in the grammar of the Decameron. So in the work, the grammar of the Decameron, here we can see narratology as an eminent term used in association with structuralism. It's a narrative, it's a nature of narrative. In a work, there is a narrative, whether it is a poem, whether it is a novel, whether it is drama, there is a narrative. Okay. So, narratology refers to the nature of that narrative, how that narration is happening, and what is the feature and characteristic and nature of that narrative. That is narratology. It was introduced in 1969 by Svetlana Todorov, who described narratology as the science of narratives. Todorov defined narratology as the science of narrative, in which we are looking for the nature of the narrative inside a work. The foundations of narratology were laid in books such as. So, if you want to know more about narratology in relation with structuralism, you can refer to these works. Okay, Vladimir Probst's Morphology of the Folk Tale, in which he says he created a model for folktales based on 7 spheres of action and 31 functions of narrative. So here he talks about the narrative, the features of folktales, morphology of the folktale. That is the work written by Probst, and he created a model for folktales. He analyzed various folktales from different part of the world, and he came up with the 7 spheres of action and 31 actions of narrative. Okay. Claude Lévi-Strauss, Structural Anthropology, which outlined a grammar of mythology. So, in Structural Anthropology, Lévi-Strauss also talks about narratology, in which he outlined a grammar of mythology. What is the grammar of mythology? How mythical and mythology is happening. Okay, that is outlined by Claude Lévi-Strauss in his work Structural Anthropology. And the other work you can refer to A.J. Gramsci's Structuralist Semantics, which proposed a system of 6 structural units called actants. So here in this work, Gramsci proposed a system of 6 structural units called actant in his work Structural Semantics. Okay, narratology illustrated how a story's meaning develops from its overall structure, its slang, rather than from each individual stories isolated themes. So there are many isolated themes inside a story, but narratology illustrates and shows us how a story's meaning develops from its structure, linguistic structure, that means the lang of the story, how that is developed from that linguistic structure, how the story is developing from that overall structure that we can find in a work. That is narratology. Narratology shows us that. Okay, So that's all about narratology. Now we have the second concept important in structuralism is binary opposition. Structuralists use it to examine the discourse in a work of literature. So binary opposition is used in order to understand the discourse discussed. The language is constructed and make it as a structure inside a work of literature. According to Saussure, the binary opposition is the means by which the unit of language have value or meaning. How come you understand things? How come you understand cold? By understanding what is warm. The concept of warm is understood in order to understand coldness. Okay, you understand first of all the opposite things. So when you compare this thing to the opposite of that thing, then you define thing, then you have value, then you have meaning about words. Each unit is defined against what it is not. So a unit, take any word inside a language, any sign inside a language, it got defined by comparing what it is not. Binary opposition is seen as a fundamental organizer of human philosophy, culture and language. So how language, culture and human philosophy is developed? Because by using binary opposition, which is a fundamental organizer, which is fundamentally used in human philosophy in constructing human culture and constructing human language as well. You cannot understand anything isolated. How you can understand mat? It is not hat, it is not bat, it is not cat, it is not sat, but bat is something else, right? That is the binary opposition. We understand things because they are different from something else, because it goes against in notion, in concept with something else. We understand that concept. That's how we get value and meaning for words inside the system of science called language. Okay, moving on. For example, masculine, feminine, cold, heat, up, down. Okay, when we understand things, usually most of the cases we understand things, but it is a problem when you understand genders like this. Masculine is not the exact opposite of feminine, and feminine is not exact opposite of masculine. When you consider this binary opposition, you only consider hetero notions. We are not considering in gender. There are many other genders are available, so there is a problem in understanding gender in this binary oppositional way. The phrase binary opposition appears in the work of the French structural anthropologist Claude Lévi-Strauss on myths, particularly those of the indigenous American tribes. So the phrase binary opposition first appeared in the work of Claude Lévi-Strauss when he talks about myth, particularly in relation with indigenous American tribes. Now let's see key texts and works related to structuralism. First one is Claude Lévi-Strauss's Structural Anthropology, published in the year 1968. Roland Barthes' Mythology is published in 1972. Ferdinand de Saussure's Course in General Linguistics, published in 1974. Umberto Eco's Theory of Semiotics, published in 1976. Julia Kristeva's Revolution in Poetic Language and Desire in Language, a Semiotic Approach in Literature and Art, published in 1984. Okay, so I'll read the titles and the authors again. Read along with me or pause the video, read it 3 to 4 times so that you memorize them. Claude Lévi-Strauss, Structural Anthropology. Roland Barthes' Mythologies. Ferdinand de Saussure's Course in General Linguistics. Umberto Eco's Theory of Semiotics. Julia Kristeva's Revolution in Poetic Language and Desire in Language, a Semiotic Approach to Literature and Art. I think that's all about structuralism. This was short. If you want more elaborate study materials about for structuralism or any other literary theory and criticism or any other authors that you need to cover for NTE, UGC, NET, JRF, English Language and Literature Paper 2, you can visit my website www.highpoint.in, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and subscribe to my YouTube channel and press the like button if you have liked this video, if this was informative. If you have any queries and suggestion, mention all of them in the comment section, and also don't forget to mark your presence in the comment section by writing your name. That's all about it. Meet you in the next video session. Until then, stay tuned to High Point and be happy always and strive for the best in your life, guys. Tata, bye bye, and thank you.